kind of hard for me to believe that it's exactly 26 years ago uh, that I had just finished getting my college degree from the U of M. But then the Lord was doing something in my life, and I kind of had to respond. And so this September, 26 years ago, I would have been at the 14 hours away at this small Catholic Franciscan university. And I was there because other people were generous financially. And I didn't even know how long I would be there, at least a year, but who knew? And I was there really to open my heart to God's will for my life. And it was kind of scary and exciting. And what I spent doing that first 2 or 3 weeks, probably without knowing it, was sizing everyone else up. You see, I was there with 80 other young men in my season of life from around the country who were doing the same thing. And I was looking at certain guys saying, I think I'll steer clear of him. Or I can't imagine being close to him. It's amazing how all that can happen inside of our hearts and affect our openness and approach to people without maybe our awareness or our full conscious. It was at the end of that year where I actually needed to be gently convicted by the Lord, reminded of how I started. Because some of the men that I would have put in a box became some of my closest friends. And I could only laugh and learn. Could only laugh and learn. This past year I was out to dinner with a couple from our parish, and I think they asked me something to the effect of what I'm most satisfied here or proud of, or where I see God working. And I've shared some of this that I see in faith through the years with you. But I said something like, I just see St. Ambrose as a community maturing. Just as each individual needs to mature and grow and let life become less superficial and more authentic, so too does a community. We're 25 years old, think of where you were. Some of you are there right now, 25. We're learning, we're growing. And one of the signs of that maturity that I've seen is that I have found St. Ambrose to have become, is becoming less cliquey. Less cliquey. Maybe a more positive way to say that is, for those who have goodwill and desire, there are pathways into community, into relationship. That there's no sort of in and out, those who get to be seen, those who aren't seen. No. We lived that clickiness once in life, and we won't go back. Now, there is a little bit of attention. You've heard me say, one of the things I want for each of you listening to me, is I want you to find your people. I want you to find that smaller group within which you get to journey with, you're known, you look forward to seeing, But even for those small groups, some that are long established at St. Ambrose, I've seen them become less insular, more open. When I look back at it, 26 years ago at 22 years old, when I was making those quick judgments of the men surrounding me, you know why I was doing that? Because I was insecure. I was wondering if I belonged. I was wondering if, do I really belong? Could God be calling me? And because I wasn't at peace about belonging, it made me quick to judge others, to define them, to put them in a box, to either let God meet me through them or not. You see, when you belong, you're free to go outside yourself. So I think today's scriptures put before us a wonderful contrast. St. James, who's very hard-hitting. If you've never read his epistle, I really would encourage you. If I could give homework, that would be it. It's only like 6 chapters. It's towards the end of the New Testament. He's very direct. Sometimes for a penance, those struggling with sins of the tongue, I'll give them James chapter 3, just to convict them, to encourage them. Yeah, you can start a whole fire in life, a destructive fire through the tongue. Well, today, notice what he says. Don't show any partiality. Don't live in superficial distinctions as a faith community. He's writing to early Christians. Might as well have been at St. Ambrose, you know? And he's saying when you're doing that, you're obscuring what we gather for, which is to encounter Christ, to be encouraged by him, to be enlightened by him, to be strengthened by him, to be moved in life by his love. But you know, if there's this group and that group, and these groups aren't open to each other, then we obscure that. But then the gospel, this wonderful contrast, huh? This encounter, profound encounter, it's the only place in the 4 gospels we hear about this one, is in St. Mark. But let me begin by asking you, how did this man get in to the presence of Jesus? How did he even hear about him? He couldn't hear. He never heard Jesus say a parable. He couldn't ask for what he needed. We're told that some people, we don't know how many, took it upon themselves to bring this man to Jesus. You've heard me say, and I'll never tire of saying, we are as strong as a faith community as each of us is committed to actively inviting other people in. We do that hopefully by the credibility of our witness, but most often it's going to entail us going out of our comfort zone and then to accompany them to Jesus, whatever it takes. There's a person in the parish, it's like, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks in a row, they're leaving Mass, inviting me to a new person that they had brought to Mass. In some cases, it was a drifting away for a person. In some cases, something happened. And this person just, come and see, come with me, we'll go to breakfast, you know? And I just wonder, it's worthwhile to think, when is the last time you've invited someone? And maybe it's not to Mass, maybe it's into your home, maybe it's simple as, hey, is there any way I can pray for you? And then what happens? Why do we want people to come to Jesus? So they know that we were right all along. No. That's not it, right? This is not about win-loss, us, them. That's just creating more groups. It's so that they can experience healing from Jesus like you and I have. We don't know how long this healing took, but you get a sense that it took some effort on Jesus' part, didn't it? It took some time. And he knew that this man, he knew exactly what he needed to be away from the group, even the group that bought him. You know, when we bring people to Jesus, we might imagine that something should happen in their life, but really we just want to trust Jesus. And we need to be patient as he's been patient with us. Notice how far the Lord goes. He's spitting, he's putting his fingers in the man's ears, he's groaning. It's like our healing costs him, but he does it. Someone once asked the question, what do all those Holy Communions get you? And you say, I don't know. I still have to look in the mirror. I still have to face myself. But deep down, I just trust, Lord, I need healing. I need you to bring about in me what I can't do for myself. Finally, what's the goal of this gospel? Well, it's preserved in one of the few Aramaic words like Abba, Father, Ephphatha, be opened. Do you know when you were baptized? There was an Ephphatha rite. The priest or deacon touched your ears and your lips and said those words of Jesus, be open. It's almost like we need his authority, his power, his grace to open us. Otherwise, we remain closed, cut off. You know, it's easy. We could bracket God for an hour a week. And even then, for that hour, we say, well, do I come saying, Lord, I'm here, entertain me? Or am I open to God in all of life? Like, do I let him speak through the person that I bracketed? Do I let him speak through the circumstance I bracketed? I'm so much more and more convinced that our happiness, our flourishing as humans, is the degree that we are open to God in all of life. The sound of his voice, the intimacy of his touch, the surprises. Told you about one of my favorite Christian singers, Matt Maher, but he has this song, he's begging the Lord for a future not his own. I think sometimes we want a future that we control. And so we're afraid to be open, afraid to trust God, afraid to surrender. But then we get what we choose. And life will never be as much as an adventure and as fulfilling as God intends it to be for you and for me. And he says, be open. Like, Lord, you're sovereign. You're God. I'm not. I need you. You can come to me any way you want. You can come to me whenever you want. I give you permission to convict my heart. Even if your love has to confound me and dismay me, I'm open to that. I don't want control in my life. I mean, I think I do. But that's just the spirit of slavery. Being open is the beloved son, the beloved daughter. Just, Abba, Father, come. I want to keep encouraging us in what God's doing. And what I think God is doing among us is he's maturing us. He's maturing us. Everyone here belongs. I still want you to find your people, that when something goes hard, you can reach out to them. People that you can share your heart with in a meaningful way. People that you can be encouraged by. Everyone here, people need you. I know you might think of it the other way of like, well, I don't know if I need that. Well, people need you. So I want that for you. But you'll know that if you have that, you'll feel so much more at home here. You'll feel ownership. You'll feel belonging. You'll have a stake, you know? But you'll also have confidence not to judge others. Your people, it won't be insular. It'll always be open to the other. And I do think it begins here when we gather. Sometimes, simple gesture, eye contact, a smile, noticing someone that you've never met and just saying, just going to introduce myself. And then we become this place where the pathway ultimately into the community, all the way to Jesus, his true and living presence, and then from him becomes transparent and clear. So, Lord Jesus, we love you. We trust that you are here, that you are leading us. We ask that you would continue to draw each of us deeper to be a meaningful part of your body here at St. Ambrose.